Okay, okay.
All right, you're ready.
Calling the Parks Commission meeting, to,
Order?
Order, thank you.
There you go.
I have no words today, so, I'm gonna need some help. This will be
We'll fill in
like
as
the
needed.
password game.
Yeah.
All right, and we'll do a roll call.
Chad Smith?
Melissa Morrow,
Don Hudson.
Mary Elizabeth Kofer.
Victoria Johnson.
great. I do not expect this meeting to go very long. We don't have very much, so, basically, are there any public comments? No, okay. Discussion, possible action on the minutes. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve them.
Great,
I'll second that.
okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, great, they're passed. The quarterly walkthrough.
So I know that you asked for Izzy to be here,
Oh.
but he had a last minute CIP meeting, so he wasn't able to. But from what we discussed, a lot of the updates for the park are going to be in that quarterly walkthrough document. So all of that information is available, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away.
Great.
I didn't download that. I don't have that.
Okay,
Diana made notes, but I thought that she would have sent that to you.
she did. It's in the packet.
It's in the
Oh.
packet.
There's a link.
Yeah.
Do you want? Do you want a copy?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
We can come back to that
Let's do
if
that.
there's anything.
That's a good
Okay,
idea.
Nobody here from Western Hills or girls softball? Know anything? Okay,
No real update.
great.
Did I know?
Yep, their season should be winding up, or it may have already wound up. Discussion possible action funding for tree and plant project. We know that the council did not, and RCDC did not meet this month, so I could not go to their meeting to do that, but I am planning to go to their next meeting. When is their next meeting gonna be?
December 9th.
Okay, December 9, RCDC, what did you say, 5:30? 5:30. Okay.
Do they meet here?
Yeah. Well, I will plan to be there, and will you, remind me to, maybe put in their packet our proposal for the tree project? And just say that we'll be coming and asking for the funds.
We'll go ahead and put a placeholder on their agenda and we'll reach out to you before the meeting.
You know, regarding that, we have a quote, but we don't have like a sort of a schematic of where the trees will go and what the, and, it would be, seems like it might be useful, I could be wrong, to have something that shows these trees here, these understory things here, grasses here. I think sometimes things go to city council and, as ideas, and they,
They say, hey, give us details.
yeah, or they don't take it up. Might it be helpful to ask, that was,
I would be hesitant to ask them to put a lot more work into this until we get some money. I just think that
Who was the proposal from?
that was from Mossberry.
Okay,
I think, let's see if we can come up with the money before we ask them to put more time and work into this. I think we've got some visuals, the AI or whatever you call it, A1 AI. It shows the areas, it showed the type of plants and so forth. As far as getting more specific than that, let's show them we've got some money before we ask them to invest more. And besides,
there
we're
more-
even talking about putting it out for bid. Have we even done that yet?
The tree?
Yeah.
yeah, we gotta,
Not until that's funded.
yeah.
So see, there's no reason for them to spend more money
Well,
on
what
something that
I'm-
they may never get.
well, I've just seen the one image of, trees and some smaller shrubs. Are there lots more? I mean, did they provide more than just that one image that you showed me?
No.
Okay.
So,
Well, it's just a thought. I mean, maybe you're right. We don't want to burn these people out and waste their time, but it might be that, if it were me and it was my money that was being spent, I'd wanna have where are the trees gonna be and what kind of trees and what kind of other stuff.
So,
So-
will you remind me, cause the Moss Verde, I mean, if you said we're gonna put in trees, you could say you're doing, we're gonna spend $10,000, we're gonna spend $50,000. I do think there was a ballpark of what we were asking for and what areas.
Oh, they talked numbers of trees, their
Yeah.
quote was pretty specific.
Yeah.
Um,
So how about, what would you think about this? If when we go to RCDC, we say, this is what we'd like to do, this is what Moss Verde has kind of bid, this is what we felt was about the right amount and the right number of trees. If you want to see, if you all feel like you can't vote on this without additional information, let us know, but
perfect, yeah.
we don't
I like
want to
that.
lean on that.
I like that
Sure.
idea.
Okay. Cool, all right, I'll do it. Any other questions on that?
Do you
Okay.
wanna go back to the park walkthrough?
Sure.
Didn't city council approve, I know they approved some 50,000, but they didn't actually vote in favor of putting in the trees?
They said they did not include it in the budget, which means they're not opposed to it, but they didn't fund it.
Okay.
And they suggested that we go to RCDC. So no one said, hey, don't do that. They said,
Gotcha.
we don't feel like we can keep our budget tight with the other needs
Okay.
balanced, in order to put that in this year.
Okay.
I think they like the idea of trees and would probably approve it if we had the funding.
Yeah. And they saw RCDC as an easy
Yeah.
way to do that. Cause you can't spend the RCDC money on police salaries and some of the other things that they thought were more important, or that they needed to fund through.
And they can't spend it on maintenance, they can spend it on improvements, capital
Mhm.
improvements.
Okay,
Alright, so, park walkthrough. So on the upper park, we looked at the ongoing erosion issues, and that obviously cannot be addressed until the capital project gets addressed. We talked about a sprinkler system at the Butterfly Garden, and, Public Works, actually, I think she's talking about the one at the Wildflower Garden up at the corner at the entrance, and they worked on that November 8th. And we're talking about spreading wildflower seeds up there, so I don't know why that's included. On the lower park, we talked about,
Michaela, were you,
Oh, no, I'm just
Okay.
here in case you guys have any
okay,
questions.
perfect.
the lower park, the benches needed to be painted. So, they've already addressed that with rotted wood has been replaced and painted on the picnic tables. The benches will be grinded and receive a fresh coat of paint in the spring. That's awesome. That is fantastic. And we talked about the little library at the lower park, and, they're going to address that this week. It's been leaking for years, and so frequently or occasionally they have to just throw all the books away. I don't know what causes it to leak, but I know that these guys are smart enough, they'll figure it out. Then, carryover from previous walkthroughs, we don't need that, do we? I don't go through all.
That's just some information from, that was previously addressed.
Yeah,
Just
historic.
updates, things like that.
Okay. Alright,
Great.
thank you.
Okay, thanks for the update. Discussion, possible action regarding trailer improvements. I don't expect us to do anything today on that. We're still in sort of a holding pattern.
I do
Yeah,
have
go
something
ahead.
too.
Go ahead.
Can those photos be,
Yeah, absolutely.
what I did is I went down and first, a week ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, I cleaned off the stones
Mm-hmm.
on each side of the trail by the Butterfly Garden. Let's see, can you go to the one that's a little different from that one? Anyway, just by scraping and sweeping and raking the,
Oh, wow.
that's what I did. I actually pulled those stones up. This was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled 9 of those stones up. After I cleaned them all up, there were low places, and when it rained heavily, it flooded them again.
Mm-hmm.
So That's what I did a week and a half ago or so. All I did was clean them. And I took my edger and I walked around on the outside of the one, cut the grass away from them. And I raked the gravel off them and swept them and cleaned it up. And that's what it looked like. That's what it looks like now, except that you can't really see it, but there's some low spots here and there. Could you go to maybe the top one, the first one you showed? The reason I did this is because that's what it looked like yesterday morning. This is all those white stones that I had cleaned they'd flooded again because there's a low place.
Yep.
So decomposed granite flooded over them. So could you raise that up to the next thing? So this is what I did. I pulled up those stones, pushed some of the loose decomposed gravel into the crater that they left, tamped them with the end of my grubbing hoe, and properly reset the stones and filled it back in. It took 2.5 hours to do 9 stones. But there's low places like that. There's probably 30 or 40 of them around the trail. And I'm old and slow, but
But the right price.
yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm thinking about doubling my
Your
charges to the.
We'll
But-
pay it.
But that's what it looked like, and I raised them up about maybe 3/4 of an inch or so, and we'll see what happens when it rains again. I
Yeah.
suspect that we won't have that. Water's got to go somewhere. But anyway, I was thinking this could be something that the park crew, if there's any time when they just between projects or need something to do, say, well, go knock out a few of these.
Yeah.
And I could write, it wasn't like, I didn't really know what I was doing with these, and I had to fumble around a little bit, but I could write a procedure having done that if anybody thought that would be a worthwhile way to approach the trail, because it doesn't, to me, this looks just fine.
Oh, that looks great.
It does look good. But when you say if they ever, need something to do, I'm not sure. That's like asking if someone has spare change or spare time. And quite often that doesn't exist. I understand what you're saying. I've always wished that when we have those It's My Park days, that we
Yes.
could utilize some people for
Yeah.
something like that. I just don't know, quite often you get the Boy Scouts or something and they couldn't possibly.
That was complicated. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so I don't know that we get those
I
kind
had
of
to stretch
volunteers.
a string and line them up.
No,
and
I
string
get that,
them.
but that's what I'm saying, this is too technical for a lot of our volunteers. I don't know if we get volunteers like that. It would be nice if we had an It's My Park Day and the Park Commission showed up and we actually did some of that kind of work. And I'm not sure when the next It's My Park Day is.
It was just this last weekend.
Get out.
It was.
It was?
Yeah. But they have two. There's
There's
usually one in the
spring
in
and
the
one
fall.
in the fall.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Seems like I'm always out of town.
You think
for
about it right when you.
But you know what? When is the spring one?
Though I'm sure Austin will have on their spring one.
Yeah. Anyway, my point is maybe we ought to, as a park commission, make a goal of us being out there to do some of, pick a project that we want to go do. Because it seems like on It's My Park Day, the biggest projects we've done in the last few years, spreading mulch.
Yeah.
Spreading mulch.
Yeah. And
And I
Ricky
think
said
we could
that
do
was
so
what
much more.
volunteers were good at, was spreading mulch, and
And
not
there's,
much
there's
else.
so much more we could be
Yeah.
doing.
Not to be
it has to
unkind, but-
do with the skill level of the volunteers,
Yeah.
and if they come for 30 minutes or an hour, they can still be helpful.
The ones that I've done and Phil McDuffie's done, we've had a lot of them for a few hours, and we've gotten quite a bit of mulch spread, but we just need something we need more skilled crew.
So,
I was thinking this is something you could do, a couple of these, the park people could probably do, a couple of things like I did in a couple of hours. I had to fumble figuring out what I was doing. I'm not saying they should just launch into it and try to do it all, but there's always a time where you just have 2 hours that you can't fill. That's what I was thinking, but if that's a bad idea, then, you know.
I don't know,
so
I
be it.
think you need to talk to them.
So, so Ashley, what is the most appropriate way for us, cause I know we don't direct city staff, what's the most appropriate way, if we as a body were to say, hey, we would like to prioritize this, cause that was trail was one of our top things, but it's kind of out of our price range. What would be the most appropriate way for us to ask for that?
I think, I guess maybe some general direction. We'd always been, oh, well, we don't wanna work on it if they're gonna come do a big project, so if that's not the case and we don't think that's gonna happen, I mean, we can have the guys prioritize it. I guess it looks like maybe even when you do work on it, the next day it gets kind of flooded out, so I mean, I'm sure they can do what they
If
can.
you don't get rid of the low spots, yes.
Yeah,
But
so,
I got rid of a low spot by raising those stones.
and it was able to hold it, yeah.
But it
I
hadn't
mean,
been rained on yet.
Sure, we'll see, yeah.
Well, you know, even if it does rain, if you've raised them, it's going to do some good.
Mhm.
And it will keep from dumping more of that decomposed granite into the flower bed. That would be nice. But we also need to, at some point, they're gonna be working on the sprinkler system or irrigation system for that garden. So they may be digging through there at that point.
Well, if I can help facilitate that, and maybe that's unreasonable to think that maintenance crew could squeeze something else in, I know.
I think it's just a timing, like how much time are they gonna have
Yeah,
available?
they didn't like the idea of doing this themselves when they walked through the.
Sure. Well, it's just a matter of I'm afraid if we commit to it and then they get pulled off for something every 5 minutes, it's just not going to be
Sure.
something they can really focus on. I know they've been really focusing on the sprinklers at the upper park, and they can usually devote like one guy half a day, for a project like that before something goes and they're pulled off to do something
Well,
else. So
in half a day, you could get a lot done.
So Don, do you, what do you think about, and again, I'm not saying we have to do this, but just, what do you think about picking 5 areas that you think are would benefit the most from one of these improvements? And then just, basically designate to Izzy, say, let's start with these 5, and if either your crew or an Eagle Scout project or It's My Park Day, we could try to just knock out those 5 and see if it starts making a real.
I think that's a great idea.
I like that. I think that's a great idea too.
So should I talk to Izzy about that?
if you wanna grab a park map or something, we probably can print out a copy and just go ahead and notate those for us. We'll get with Izzy, or you can get straight with Izzy. That's fine
Okay.
too.
I kind of like to
Mhm.
get him to say, there's some that are very prominent, Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's a good route, and we'll just keep it on that rolling document
Yeah.
for the park walkthrough. And like I said, we'll do our best. I don't want us to disappoint y'all if we can't get to it 1 month.
Yeah,
but
I don't
we'll
want
try.
to me, this is something that, and I could be real mistaken about, that they could find a spot of time here and a spot of time there, but
Mhm.
if they could, so,
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
That sounds like a good plan.
So I'll try to work with Izzy and identify those places, and then I'll show them how I did it at one point, and
Awesome.
go from there.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Great.
And kind of getting into our last, is there anything else on trails? Cause I'm kind of gonna blend those. So when you talk, I know It's My Park Day is not necessarily a park fundraiser, but it is sort of a, friend-raiser, in the sense of friends of the park and bringing people in and getting awareness about how it gets maintained, that might make someone want to give to it. At our next meeting, let's look up when the next spring, It's My Park Day is, and then be way ahead of that, and maybe in January, if all of us would, if we could, commit to being at it, some, 1 hour here, 1 hour there, whatever, and that we select some projects that we think would fit well with that, whether it's mulch or something more complicated, and let that be at least one, because we haven't had it, It's My Park Day in a while. So I think that's a good goal for the spring.
There's a lot of little projects like that that would be nice. I would think the people would always need guidance,
Oh, for sure,
do it this way.
yeah. And we might even want Izzy there that day, so again, if we tell him with enough advance warning, he could be there to, you know, kind of let us know the best things that we can do. And if we break a water line, you know, or a sprinkler head or whatever, yeah, he'd be there to help us out.
It's my park day is usually early March. So y'all can keep that in
Yeah.
mind.
Spring breakish time.
But yeah, I was gonna say, it needs to be before spring break. I
Yeah.
don't think it is spring break, but it is, yeah.
Is there anything we could do for It's My Park Day that would incentivize people to come out more in droves? And that way we could get more help if there was something planned afterwards, like a
Uh-huh.
get together.
You know, that's a great
Barbecue,
idea.
movie
Now,
night.
one year when I
Barbecue.
did
Yeah,
this,
just some
Yeah.
catered barbecue or
Yeah, yeah.
something
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
we spend
Food,
a little bit
sure.
of money and
you know, we could do a raffle, like, we could get donations from REI or Whole Earth or somebody. I don't know how much that would bring people out, but it would generate some buzz. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
do like a little silent auction or something.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how we could get, 25 people out here for
Right.
It's My Park Day and,
Yeah,
and
Oh, it looks like it's Saturday, March 8th.
okay. Saturday, March
I think that was the 2024 date, is that? The one I'm looking at says 2025, I'm assuming.
Well,
Maybe
yeah,
I-
but you know what? I found another one that actually had a date, and if it wasn't Saturday, March 8th this year, was not on a Saturday,
Okay,
so they must be listing that
yeah.
for next year. This year,
Yeah, it is a Saturday.
it was, I think it was, March 9th.
Okay, all right. Well, let's in January maybe come up with some ideas, some incentives. I do know that a lot of kids, so many schools require kids to do volunteer hours, and the deadline is usually May 1, so you have a lot of people who need to get their hours done in March.
Maybe that would be a good time to bring in food trucks and do, I think even more than having a raffle or something, would be to do a food trucks and
Yeah.
neighborhood thing,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
you've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just get the
Yeah.
neighborhood thing going. I
Love
love,
it.
yeah. And RCD's, let's see, you know, Brian Ryder was talking a lot about food trucks and stuff. I just think that
Mhm.
might be really fun.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
make it,
So think of which food truck you want. What do you want us to, because we probably need
it's
to book it
Texas.
early.
Yeah, it's Texas, so you have to have
Creek
tacos.
and P. Terry's both have food trucks.
P. Terry's.
I think we used Hat Creek's at a fundraiser for my son years ago.
Yeah. P. Terry's is pretty expensive. They have
Yeah.
sort of a minimum, but maybe we just.
I can't
we'll figure
remember
it
what
out.
Hat Creek's, we ended up going with Hat Creek. We approached them both. Of course,
Yeah.
that was years ago, so it might have
Yeah.
changed by now.
Yeah, okay, or Hat Creek.
This is, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
Torchy's or Taco Deli would be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably gonna be less expensive too.
come work in the dirt and pull weeds and spread mulch, that's not
Yeah.
terribly attractive.
Yeah.
Right, that's why I'm
Yeah.
trying to incentivize.
And Kona
Yeah.
Ice is always good too.
Which one?
Kona Ice.
Oh, yeah, Kona Ice.
So we're just, you know, getting rid of your agenda item for next time because we're planning it now.
Yeah, I love it, I love it. Okay, well,
All right, we'll have more ideas next time.
Yeah, that sounds good. Would we, so some trucks, they want you to pay ahead or have a minimum that they know they're gonna make. So just be thinking about what we feel comfortable with. Or would we sell it? Like, would it, I feel like it needs to be a giveaway.
No, they can go to food trucks and pay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, people can pay. We're in Rollingwood. I think people can afford to buy their own hamburger.
okay, we'll think about it.
Okay.
Okay,
We could sell tickets ahead of time, although that's a lot of
yeah,
work, but can be done.
yeah. Is there gonna be a fun run? I can't remember.
They are planning it, I think it's on our agenda in a couple months or maybe next month.
It's in
It
March.
looks-
Or I believe
Okay,
they gave us like a rough date, but
Yeah,
Okay.
it hasn't been approved by council yet, I don't believe,
Okay.
so. Could be something to do, yeah, in conjunction with that.
Yeah,
We had talked about if we wanted to do one maybe in the fall. I know we've just missed it, but like maybe in conjunction with like a Halloween something, like when we done
Yeah.
like our city pumpkin carvings. I don't know, just something that might get people
Uh-huh.
more excited to come out. But
yeah.
That would have been fun.
yeah, like a fall clean. It may not have fallen on the actual date, but
That
we could have
wouldn't
done
need
our
to,
own.
Yeah.
because people here start celebrating, they start decorating for Halloween, what, in July?
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Some of us might still have our decorations up until Christmas.
Yeah.
Count
I'm
us
thinking
in.
about seeing if I have a 12-foot ladder so I can put Santa hats on some of the
That's what I
skeletons.
want to do. That's what I was thinking. I could make it into a skeleton Grinch.
You can borrow my ladder if you need it.
Okay. All right. Fundraisers. And then, we'll try and keep this to like maybe 5-10 minutes max. Does anyone have ideas for fundraisers that you think we would be successful at?
I like the idea of that the Eames schools used to do, the no hassle fundraiser.
Oh, uh-huh. Yep.
I mean, I don't know if that would
Yeah.
just saying, kick in some cash
Mm-hmm.
for this.
I
For the
think it's-
parks.
When I was in elementary school, we'd have cupcake sales and
Mm-hmm.
they'd make a few dollars off it.
Yeah.
It might be important to attach something to it, like trail improvement
Yes.
or something, so
Uh-huh.
they know exactly
Oh,
where
yeah.
money's
Yeah.
gonna go. Because I think
Mhm.
people are
By
more willing to
projects.
give if they know exactly how it's
Yep.
gonna be used.
Maybe at the annual Christmas party, we could auction off a lunch with the mayor.
I like it.
Do we
And
have to
one
pay
with
the mayor?
Ashley,
I'm
too.
not. I'm
No.
not gonna agree to that. You're gonna have to talk to him about it. But
Yeah.
I'm happy to nod and go. Oh yeah, great idea.
We're just gonna say that Ashley said he would.
And there you go. Exactly.
Yeah, raffles are they're kind of cool. I've never won anything in one, but,
Raffle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what you want to raffle? What would the thing be? Or just donations of things?
I don't know what the thing would be.
You could maybe do a free pavilion rental or something, like a
Oh,
free
yeah,
use
yeah,
of
yeah. Ooh, I
the
like that.
facility.
Something
or
we
Yes,
should do
something.
that.
free
Could be an
pavilion
idea.
rental.
Also, in the past, we might have only had maybe one person, but I think we used to have some people who, on their water bill, they would check that yes, I want to donate X amount a month to the to the
Yeah.
parks.
Brilliant.
Oh, man, see, this is why we pay you the big
On
bucks.
water bill.
Oh, I cover my salary with these.
That we're wanting to.
Austin has got a
Exactly.
place for trees and
Yeah,
just,
that's
You
it.
know,
I
people
think-
love our
Can we
park.
itemize it on the water bill, like
We can.
for the trail?
Yes, we
Yeah.
well we could
Or
probably do
whatever.
specific projects, and then we could create separate accounts so that we know it goes there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
fine. I think in the past we maybe because we used to contract out our billing, that wasn't as easy, but now we have full control over it. So I think we could about do
That'd be
whatever we
cool.
want.
I like
That
that
is
idea.
brilliant. I
Mhm.
love that idea. I
Yeah.
know one of the things that's so important is to remind people that the parks budget is kept really small to keep our taxes low. And so this really goes for the extra projects.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think people would just contribute money for trees. I think they see
Mhm.
that as a,
Yeah.
I agree with
as
that.
a real,
Mhm.
positive way to spend money. I mean,
If there's any like specific message you want to get across or something like that, if you can kind of give us some hints on a document, we can make it like a part of our new resident packet.
Mhm.
They may be least likely because they are probably just moving in and maybe don't quite know that yet, but it might be something we can just add to that packet and they could check off yes or no, or
Mhm.
we'd be happy to share it through our
I think the
different
important
channels.
thing is going to be to make sure we get the message across that they don't get a plaque or anything with their name on it.
I
Yeah.
think we should have a minimum. I don't know about this, but we talked about this at the last meeting. Have like $100 minimum if you wanna donate for trees. I mean, seems like if people were kicking in $5 and $10, that gets to be a lot of work, a lot of.
Well, not if we're not offering them anything. If we just take their check and cash it, there's no
I guess
work.
that's
And I
true.
think the ones in the past had been just like a $5 added
Mhm.
onto their utility bill,
Mhm.
and so it would just be a recurring. It would hit the
Mhm.
account before you
That's
know
what
it,
I
you
was
had
wondering.
a little.
Because if
you know,
you're on
account
auto
set.
pay, you're not even looking at it anyway.
Mhm.
See, I see what you're saying, but if we're not offering anything in return, we just cash their check, then it could actually work, and that way everybody feels like they're a part of it, even if they can't write that big check.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when we were,
Small.
we were talking about that in terms of, last meeting seems like we talked about having we thank the following donors for all these trees, and a plaque somewhere with a long list of people.
We're not gonna be doing a lot of,
Well, I'm not talking about individual plaques per tree, and I don't know if I think that's a good idea or not. I kinda like the idea of just supporting that. But we had talked about, some of the $100 minimum stuck in my head, but it doesn't really have to be that way. $100 is not a huge amount of money for somebody to contribute to the park. I
let
don't
me
know.
ask y'all something, that bench that's up there on Rollingwood Drive, close to the entrance, does anybody even know who those people are or
The
were?
Fergusons?
Yes,
Yeah, they used to live across the
so
street
you
from
know
me.
who they were. Does
Yeah.
anybody else here know who the Fergusons were?
No.
They
And-
lived in where Dave's bench lives.
Yeah, but see that, my point is that you put these plaques up with people's names on them, and, you know, a bit later, nobody knows who they were.
That's the memorialization that sort of keeps them a presence beyond.
Yeah.
I'm sure their kids or somebody did it that way, but
Yeah.
I see what you mean though. It's
But
like,
you get enough of those, and then you start to wonder, I don't know.
I do think, you know, it's a little bit complicated. Don, I'm with you on like, almost setting a minimum, like the $100, but also it's great. I don't think anyone would bat an eye to add $10 to their bill. Like, if I knew every month I'm now a recurring supporter of the park, $10 a month, that's nothing. I wouldn't be a recurring $100 a month.
no,
person.
yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
That's
So,
what KUT does,
yeah.
you know,
So I wouldn't.
Friends of the Park.
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily want to set a minimum, but if you think really about stewarding your donors, what this would look like, and this is what I would suggest, and I haven't thought fully through this, but what we do at WEA is we have when you register, you can add $10 to your registration if you want. Every quarter, we take a list of all of those donors and we craft an email that just says, thanks so much for during your registration or your water bill or whatever, for giving that. Because you do want them to not think in a year, well, I'm not gonna do that. No one even thanked me. Like, nobody even cared that I did that. The other thing is, and I'm saying this, I know on the record, is that also begins to serve as your list, that you would then take those 25 people that added on and maybe send them are there other things that you would be interested in donating to the park? Is there a bigger project?
We
Because
just
that's
welcome
how
their
you,
input on
Yeah.
what they would like to see,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
improvements to the park.
Right. And that's how you sort of, in the end, build a parks foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Is you start with getting who's really interested, then you get them to be part of that bigger
love
thing,
that
and
idea.
then support it more. So
We could also do something like, you know, the stickers that you get when you donate to the police fund.
yep,
If we had like the
Oh,
logo,
yeah.
if we ever get
Friends
it
of Rollingwood
trademarked.
Park.
yeah.
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
do a little sticker and just,
And
I mean,
yes,
they could put it on their
yes,
car.
Yep.
And that, I mean, those are kind of fun.
And
Yes.
you know what, and I
That's a
didn't
great
mean to
idea.
be
That
so
is. Doesn't
disrespectful
take
to
it-
the Fergusons, please forgive me for sounding that way. I'm just envisioning if we had a lot of those and people not knowing who they are, because, you know, and I know the Fergusons, they lived in that house for a while. So I'm sure other people remember them. I think about getting more of those and people's expectations of those, and so I like the idea of just giving people an opportunity and giving them something that they can let other people know that they're involved or that they care. I like that.
Well, the great thing about a sticker is then it also, other people see it and they're like, oh, I wanna have one for my water bottle or for
Right.
my back of my car or whatever. And they kind of learn, oh, that's how we give to it.
Park
Um,
donor 2025
And
or
just,
whatever.
just to let you know.
Oh yeah, put the year
City
on
of-
it.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
they get another one.
Exactly,
Yeah.
You
exactly.
are good.
And just so you know, right now, City of Austin, because I just got the ask, you know how much their benches are? 30,000.
Oh, wow.
They're making some money.
So don't undersell that bench or that sign. I'm saying $100. I mean, right now, honestly, most of the places that I'm at, we're not giving any recognition below like $1,500 because, like you said, you'd have lists of names everywhere. So it's okay to. So let's also. I do want to think about recognition. And again, it could be that it's just a banner that's up for 1 month. You know, like, again, we ask for that money and we have the list of everybody on that banner, and maybe it's at the, you know, it's shown underneath the, you know, the box, the bulletin box.
Or at Rolling Night Out or something.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Put up in an event or something
Exactly.
like that.
And it's just like, hey, we do really appreciate these people. Maybe we can even have them on the website. We can create a page that says these are the people who gave this year,
The
2024.
website's a great use for that.
Because it's free, doesn't
Mhm.
cost us much, but it does recognize those donors.
Yeah.
I think that'd be
So-
big.
Cool.
I think that'd help.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yay.
Anything else? All right. I feel like that was good today. And
Planted the seeds for
yeah.
And when Laura
Friends
gets
of
her
the
hands
Park
on this,
Foundation.
she's just
Yeah.
gonna
kind of
write up a whole lot
exactly.
more ideas.
Yeah. All right. So Ashley, do we need to do anything to have you at least start thinking about what I guess we need to work on the wording for what it would be on the water bill?
Right, if you want it to be specific project related or something, that kind of info we would welcome, but I could just see it as like a 1-page flyer that says, you know, welcome to Rollingwood, here's our park, here's a little bit about it, if you're interested in supporting it, you know, check here and put the amount, you know, it could be as little as $1 or as much
Yeah.
as whatever, you know, something like that for that, and then we can always share that other ways, you know, once we kind of get it off the ground, but it would be super easy. And I'll talk to the mayor, we may, you know, talk to council about it or let them know that we're
Yeah.
kind of bringing it back. I know it's been done in the past, it just has
Mhm.
kind of fallen asleep, so
Great.
we'll
Cool.
work on that.
Would you tell him that I suggested that we auction off a lunch date
Oh, I
with
won't
him?
forget to tell him that,
Yeah.
don't worry,
Good.
don't worry.
Don't tell him where I live.
Okay. Oh, I think he probably knows.
He'll say,
I don't
and
know
then
why.
lunch with Mary Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
We'll auction that off too.
Exactly. Exactly.
He'll say, just please don't make me go to lunch with her.
Sounds like it.
Anything but that.
Okay. Well, all right. December. What is the date of our meeting in December?
Oh, yeah, let's get that down.
First Tuesday? Yes, so that should be the third.
All right.
No.
So
I'm seeing that on the calendar.
First Tuesday.
Is it the first?
Yeah, December 3rd.
I'm sorry, second Tuesday.
Oh, that's
Oh,
him.
I'm sorry.
The 10th?
We have that on the 10th.
okay. So put that on your calendar. Hopefully, oh wait, the RCDC meeting is
Their meeting is the 9th.
the 9th. Okay. Well,
What
I'll
was the
report
date of-
on how it
What
goes.
was the date
Oh,
of our
cool.
next meeting?
The
The
December the 10th.
Okay.
Okay. Great.
Somewhere I read that there was I thought it was on this, there was a desire to have a fundraising subcommittee. Did I make that up? Or,
I think we did want to have a fundraising subcommittee.
okay, but maybe that's for next
Yeah.
meeting.
So think about if you want to be on it, and yeah.
I thought it was gonna be you and Lori and I.
Okay.
All right.
But anyone who wants to join is welcome to.
Okay.
Okay. Is that right?
Well, we need it to be 3 or less if we don't want to.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maria and Melissa. Okay.
And if y'all want to reach out to us and set up a meeting or something, we can kind of help drafting stuff or whatever
Okay.
y'all need. Just reach out to us.
Perfect. Okay. All good. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
I didn't make it. I'm asking.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
that we adjourn.
I'll second if you make it.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.